Hello everyone, I'm the Shadow of the Hawk, and this is gonna piss a lot of people off. The Dothraki are a shitty military force. That's not a joke, that's not, like, that's just a fact. They're horrible. I'm gonna go into why. Now, before I continue, I need to specify that this is the show version of the Dothraki. If I remember correctly, the book version do make use of bows, which instantly makes them less than useless, because bows are, fucking strong. You put them on a horse archers, they did some pretty effective stuff. The Dothraki are still not the best horse archers in existence. They're not even close to something like an East Asian Lancer, which was kind of a mix of heavy cav and a horse archer unit. Regardless, I'm not going to get into that. But no, the Dothraki, as they are depicted in the show Game of Thrones, are objectively one of the worst military forces in existence. And the fact that people defend them and go, oh, no, they're really cool, you just have a Eurocentric view of them. No. I'm going to break down why they suck from each individual stage. So, starting reason why they suck. And if I remember to edit this in, I'm going to have, top left up here, there's going to be, pictures to help reinforce my point. So, looking at a Dothraki warrior, there are three defining traits of the Dothraki warrior. One, their horse, which look to be a decent breed of horse. Granted, they're not really... They're just, sticking in a horse whenever they can, so that's not really going to matter. It's not like they're using the shaggy Temujai horses from Ranger's Apprentice. It's just a horse. The second detail of a Dothraki warrior is their curved arak, which is sort of like a weird Kopesh scimitar-looking thing, designed to basically be swung down from horseback. And then the third defining feature of the Dothraki is their courage. The fact that they charge forward, the fact that they don't back up, the fact that they don't wear armor. And some people would argue that that's a good trait in a warrior. We've also seen in duels that the Dothraki are very, very skilled. Here is where I run into the problems. The Dothraki are predominantly a light cavalry unit, which, that's fine. Light cavalry can serve its purpose. In scouting, in raiding. To be fair, that's what the Dothraki do. That's their whole thing. They raid small communities, or they overwhelm targets with mobility, which that is how you'd use light cavalry. But as an actual army, there's a lot of flaws with this, especially since they, don't wear actual armor. The predominant flaw is Dothraki battle tactics seem to revolve around just charging at the enemy. And why wouldn't it? They never have to actually apply battle strategy to any of the fights that we ever see them in. Either they have, they're fighting farmers, or they have the support, or they're charging a significantly lower number enemy, or they have the support of a scaly AC-130 in the form of Drogon. That's not if you actually take a look at how the Dothraki fight, they don't display any level of battle tactics. They just pick up their weapon, get in formation, not even a formation, just a massive bundle of troops, and charge forward. That is a horrible battle strategy. Even if you're a heavily armored cavalry unit, like something from Bretonnia or the Knights of Ulm, not real Ulm, I'm talking about Dominions 5, that is a very, very horrible battle strategy, because you are a larger target, exposing yourself to arrow fire, crossbow fire, pikes, and spears, and if you get yourself caught in the mosh, you're a big target. 5 or 6 pikemen are going to come from all sides and stab you. The Dothraki don't even have the protection of armor to ward off that level of threat. So they need to hope that what they hit dies or routs in their first strike. And if you're fighting an actual army, you're not going to have that problem. That's probably part of why the Unsullied, who are, for their own issues, a shitty army, would rout. And if you think I'm wrong in this assessment, take, again, as I mentioned, the Bretonnians. In the book Knights of Bretonnia, Bretonnian battle strategy revolves around basically using a line of peasants to protect archers and trebuchets that bombard the enemy, and then the Bretonnians charge either at the flanks or headlong into the enemy lines, and using superior shock and awe of a disorganized enemy, defeat them. Minus the combined arms of the archers and trebuchets, and the formation and the heavy armor and lances of a Bretonnian, that is Dothraki battle tactic. It is basically just charge at the enemy, and hope you kill them all. That is a very, very flawed method of combat. Now, some of you might be going, well, the Dothraki are better warriors. They're from a warrior culture. If you're not a strong warrior, you die young because you're not able to defend yourself. And I'm going to argue that that's fucking retarded. Mind my French, that is fucking stupid. Yes, groups like the Spartans or groups like the Spartans or the Norse were very similar, but the key difference is there was still like a level of training. There was still a level of regimentization. You weren't just given a sword and told figure it the fuck out and killed if you couldn't figure it the fuck out. You could be a very, very competent swordsman, but if you fight a different competent swordsman in Dothraki culture, you're killed. In Sparta or the Norse, bad soldiers die, not good ones. And the Dothraki, due to their infighting, are constantly killing off good, capable soldiers, meaning their actual pool of combat-effective young men is lessened. Because Dothraki culture is rooted around killing your rivals and being the biggest, baddest motherfucker in the group. So you're constantly being challenged, constantly killing capable individuals. You're killing off your battle stock, leaving it with a bunch of young men who, yeah, they're still in the prime of their life, but they're not very combat effective. Take for example, Westerosi or Bretonnian methods. They do duels, but not to the death. Jousting, I mean, yes, there are to the death duels in both cultures, but jousting or to first blood fights are regularly common. They enhance the strength of both individuals, teaching them where they're weak, allowing them to grow as a combatant, while also, not killing them. The Dothraki don't have that. They're to the death. So yeah, the Dothraki have a core of incredibly capable warriors, typically the Kull, the Blood Riders, and then maybe the Blood Riders gangs. But then everyone else is most likely going to be a form of chafe, because either they die trying to challenge a higher member in society, or they themselves kill someone higher in society. Why are you going off bad? So, with that in mind, let me go over how the Dothraki could be a more effective combat unit. As I mentioned previously, simply having them use bows instantly makes them a more lethal combat unit. Because even if they continue with their basic battle strategy of charging forward, if they charge forward with a recurve bow, let off arrows, sling the bow, draw their rock, boom, they've hit the enemy position with arrows, which have killed some, forced shields up, or have depleted the enemy units, and then they charge in with the rocks and start doing damage. Another change I would make to the Dothraki combat unit is the introduction of, basically stealing the idea of the East Asian Lancer. Lamellar armor to allow them to protect them from arrow fire, as well as moderate like swords and axes. The armor should relatively protect them. Helmets, because helmets are good. Look at what happened to Oberyn Martell. And between just Lamellar armor and bows, which both of those are things that people out in a grassland are able to make. The Mongols did this, and the Dothraki are loosely based off the Mongols. So just those two changes there instantly increased Dothraki combat effectiveness. But then the final thing I would recommend with Dothraki combat effectiveness is skirmishing tactics. Right? They're light infantry. They're not encumbered. They can move around really, really fast. Combine the fact that you have the Lamellar armor to protect you from light arrow and crossbow fire, and maybe if you charge in, you could take a sword or a spear because that armor will protect you a little bit better than nothing. Combined with the bow, if you engage in skirmishing tactics, just lob arrow, lob arrow, lob arrow, maybe charge in and then disengage, and then coordinate that amongst a group of a couple hundred Dothraki, that immediately is a very effective combat unit and could easily slaughter 2, 3, 4 times its size, as we have seen in history. The East Asian Lancer is a very effective and dangerous unit. It's why the Mongols were able to conquer the world. And if those tactics are familiar to people, you might recognize them from a book like The Ranger's Apprentice, the Temujai, who again are based off the Mongols and are in Eastern horse warrior culture. The Dothraki are all the bad parts. They are the berserker. They are effectively the naked berserker warrior who's hyped up as awesome. And yeah, sure, some members of the culture are awesome. Khal Drogo is a badass motherfucking warrior. He is a Robert Baratheon and Arthur Dayne. He is a big fucker. But if you put him up against a Robert Baratheon and Arthur Dayne, they're going to win because they have superior equipment. They have a superior understanding of warfare than just burning and raiding. If you disagree with me, down in the comments below. I would love to have this conversation. It'd be really great. Thank you all for watching. Have a good day. See you next time.